In this video, you are going to learn how to factor a difference of squares. Now, difference of squares is going to look like this, and it's exactly the name of it. Difference means subtraction. There has to be a subtraction sign. And then squares mean both of these terms need to be a perfect square, hence the squares. The factored form of this will be a plus b, a minus b. And I'll show you why it works. Remember when we were multiplying polynomials, we distributed a times a is a squared, a times negative b is negative ab, b times a is a positive ab, alphabetical order, just put the a first, and b times negative b is negative b squared. When we simplify, a negative ab and a positive ab go away. We simplify to 0, leaving a squared minus b squared, which was our original problem. So here would be the factored form. We are going to try a few examples just so you can get the hang of it. Example 1, let's do x squared minus 9. First thing you have to look at is if both are perfect squares, which they are, x squared and 9 is a perfect square. Also subtraction. If this was not a subtraction sign, if this was addition, we would not be able to do it. So I'm first just going to set us up like this. We know one's going to be a plus and one's going to be a minus, just from our starting point, a plus b, a minus b. We're going to take the square root of x squared, and x times x is just x squared. So I'm going to put an x and an x there, and we're going to square root 9. The square root of 9 is a positive 3, negative 3. And this is the factored form of this difference of squares. My next example will be 16y squared minus 25. First thing I look at, subtraction symbol between my two terms. 16 and 25 are perfect squares, and y squared is a perfect square. Start the same way, plus, minus. We know the square root of 25 is 5, so I'm going to put a 5 there and a 5 there. I'm going to take the square root of this entire thing. So let's pretend the y squared isn't there. The square root of 16 is 4. The square root of y squared, so we already took the square root of the 16, so the square root of y squared, just like in the first one, will just be y. And this is the factored form. Number 3, the third example, will be x squared plus 16. X squared and 16 are both perfect squares, but there's a plus sign here, which means we cannot factor using difference of squares. We also notice there's no greatest common factor, so we can't pull anything out. So this is the factored form of that polynomial. Let's do a couple more. Number 4, x squared minus 4. Try this one by yourself. Pause the video if you want to. See if you can factor that. First thing I'm going to do is set it up. The square root of x squared is just x. The square root of 4 is just 4. And I forgot to put my plus and minus to start, but there's always a plus and a minus. Again, you could write it like this instead. Let's go with another. Alright, so 25 and 36 are perfect squares. We have a subtraction symbol, and you're probably looking at this, x to the 4th. Is that a perfect square? Whenever we have an even number here, we can break it down. So let's do what we do first, plus and minus. Let's square root the 36 first. That's going to get me a 6. The square root of 25 we know is 5. Square root of x to the 4th is really just, we have to figure out what times itself is going to get us x to the 4th. X times x gets us x squared, so x squared times x squared gets us x to the 4th. 2 plus 2 is 4. X squared, x squared. Another way to look at it is you just divide that number by 2, and then you write it twice. Alright, last example. Okay, 8y squared minus 18. Two terms, subtraction symbol, but 8 and 18 are not perfect squares. However, we know we should always be looking for a greatest common factor first. I notice I can pull a 2 out of both of these, leaving 4y squared minus 9. Now when I look on the inside, 4 and 9 are perfect squares, and so is y squared. So I bring down my 2. I can set this up for its difference of squares. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 4 is 2. And square root of y squared is just y. So this is my factored form. Alright, let us know if you have any questions.